once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. With me each week are my co-hosts, Jeff Moore, Crystal Cleveland, and Dave Dreyer, while we take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. This week we are doing Archive. We're doing a little bit sci-fi, which Jeff Moore loves when we do it. So let's welcome him and say hello to Jeff Moore. How you doing, Jeff?
Coming to you from the archives in a basement in Iowa. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's about time to delete myself.
I got nothing.
I got nothing. All right. Also joining us tonight is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl.
Hi.
I don't know if you like sci-fi films or not.
I love sci-fi.
Okay. Have you done many sci-fi films with us?
No. Yeah, just a couple.
I mean, we do them scattered throughout, but this one is definitely heavier on the sci-fi elements.
Yeah, no, I love horror, sci-fi, and fantasy. Those are my favorites.
Yes, I like to group all of them together just as one big happy genre family. That's just me. That's why you see a lot of superheroes and Star Wars and other things kind of floating around here, Gruesome Magazine, because I just love it. All right, well, tonight we're doing Archive. This is from director Gavin Rothery. It's his debut feature film. He's done some shorts, but let's throw a card up. The synopsis is coming out on July 10th, by the way. The synopsis goes, in 2038, George Almore is working on a true human equivalent AI. His latest prototype is almost ready. The sensitive phase is also the riskiest, especially when he has a goal that must be hidden at all costs. Being reunited with his dead wife. The film stars Theo James from the Divergent series, Stacey Martin from Vox Lux, Rhona Mitra from Home Sweet Alabama and Boston Legal, Toby Jones. I love Toby Jones. And is, like I said, feature screenwriting directorial debut from Gavin Rothery. So let's dive into this, shall we? And Crystal Cleveland, you're up first. What is your first impression of Archive?
Okay, so I just want to say to our horror fans out there, this is not a horror movie. It's not. It's sci-fi. However, I freaking love this movie. I think.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what the budget was, but I would assume it was kind of low because, of the way it was made. However, I think they were super creative. I think, those poor little robots. There's so many emotions I felt through this. I just can't tell you. It is definitely a sci-fi film with very deep emotional elements, and it deals with love and loss and what constitutes a real person as well. It's kind of one of those. It has some beautiful scenery, whether it's CGI or whatever. It's stunning. Mm-hmm. I think the imagery was just phenomenal. I think the acting was great. I really liked this movie. Like I just really liked it. The lead dude is hot and he's sympathetic, and yet he's kind of a jerk, and you want to kind of beat his head in, but you understand why he's doing what he's doing. I felt a lot during this one, and yeah, it took me on a ride, and I liked it. It has a twist at the end, but there are signs along the way, and then right before that twist is revealed, you'll definitely get it. But I didn't mind that. I thought it kind of came back around and made sense. There's so much I liked about it.
Even though our lead character is a jerk, he's not the jerkiest jerk in the whole movie.
Yeah, he's not completely, but God, you just want to beat him over the head because you're like, oh, dude, he's so focused on one thing and almost nothing else matters, even though he's missing things in front of him.
Yeah, I would say that all the other human characters are far more jerkier than he is.
Oh, for sure.
now the non-human characters, the two robots and our AI
number two.
are a little less so. Even though one wants to be occasionally a jerk, But we'll get to all that. Look at all that. I'm
No,
getting ahead of
she's
myself.
like a teenager. She's like a teenager. Did you hear? Like her developmental stage was a teenager, so she totally acts like an emotional teenager.
Yep, that is true. All right, let's find out what Jeff Moore thought. This is why we're doing the film. Jeff, what is your first impression of Archive?
I enjoyed this too. I think we texted a couple times, and I think you mentioned something that bothered you. I think I don't remember what, but I figured it out, and it didn't bother me. This is another film. You have to accept some things in how fast the progression is going between these different levels of the robots all the way to AI. It goes from basic, doesn't even have speech, to much more advanced AI in less than 3 years, I guess. Or were those other two already there? I'm not sure. But anyway, and I just decided to take the attitude that I forget who said it, but any big advancement in technology is indistinguishable from magic. I just accepted whatever happened and said, I don't need to know how that happened. So I enjoyed it. It's not, I wouldn't call it a slow burn, but it's a sort of a character studies of the robots and our lead, played by Theo James, and also the AI. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good looking. It looked real science fiction-y.
It did look real. And until you get to the AI robot that you see in the trailer, it reminded me of like Silent Running. Just the robots were bigger, taller. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
So there are a lot of elements I like about this film. I think cinematography is fine. I think the acting's fine. I love the concept. I like this. I like the thrust of the story. I like what they're trying to do. I have a huge problem with the storytelling here. The method of storytelling that they chose. Now, this was a decision they chose to do in, weaving in flashbacks in through the story. I wasn't with it. And every time it happened, it was taking me out of the story. And I wasn't entirely, it felt very repetitive. It didn't feel like it was actually adding anything to it. It wants to, and there's reasons why it's doing it, but it was like, I already got it by that point. So I felt very beat up by that. And this is another example, and maybe our first example as you're watching this, of getting kind of where they, in my opinion, did not stick the landing, and the what happens after the twist didn't really work for me. Although I like the idea of the twist, right?
Well, there wasn't really much after the twist, though. Pretty much went, that's it.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I guess leading up to the twist, once you know the twist is on its way, right? Because there's a phone call. We'll just say that, and then there's multiple people talking to the phone call, right? We get the AI, and then we get our character, and so by the time that was happening, it was already okay. Yeah, well, so we, sometimes we review a movie and we talk about, exposition being heavy, and sometimes we talk about being light. And here, the exposition is fairly straightforward and quick. And it didn't even need it. I don't know. I'm so frustrated by this movie. That's so frustrating.
See, I liked it. I don't know. I don't know how to defend it. I guess because really, to me, I was like, it all just flowed to me. Like,
I didn't have that same problem.
And we get characters that come in and out that, don't really. I mean, they're intended to advance the story, but they didn't advance the story for me personally. I I don't know. This movie frustrated me left and right. Now, I did love the design of the AI, even though it's obviously like prosthetics and makeup and stuff.
Hmm.
I just love the concept. I love it in the context of the story. I thought it was perfect for it. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the two practical robots too, right? The ones that look kind of more like
1
each
and
other.
2.
Yeah, and when the one falls over, there's a scene where one falls over, and after this, for itself, it's a tragic event, not for everybody else. But and it, you felt for it. And I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting that happened. And then that's when I started getting reminded even more so of Silent Running. So, am I going to embarrass myself?
Yeah. I'm just saying. Yes. But it could be that I am all about robots and aliens, and I absolutely feel that robots can be sentient beings, and it just broke my heart. It just absolutely shattered me in so many ways. And I think, without giving anything away, I think everything made sense because our human minds, or even some sort of variation of that, works to make connections and make things work together and build stories and builds things to help us deal and help us understand and help us cope. And I think, it was just a sad story.
It is sad.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather just watch Ex Machina again.
Oh, that one was funny to me.
Yeah.
Because
I thought that
there's a lot of similarities, but it's a different story, and I really love that one, and I don't like this one. And maybe it's just what the story they're trying to tell that register. But Jeff, you were getting ready to say something, sir.
I liked the twist. I thought it was a good sort of a scenario or a good idea of of a possibility, right? This reminded me a little bit of a Black Mirror episode, without getting too definitive about it, because I don't want to give it away.
Maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too much.
Yeah. But it has enough of a different pair of glasses that it didn't spoil it or anything. It's enough different that it's.
Well, I will defend that as well, Jeff. That I threw a comparison to Ex Machina, which in the AI part of it is very similar. But I do think this film is very uniquely its own, and it has to do with the title, the archive part of it, which I think they needed. I felt they didn't quite give that enough attention.
But I don't think they needed to. Did you think that? See, it's interesting. So you wanted more exposition here.
No, well, no, I don't think.
I
don't think that's what I'm saying. But maybe I'll have to question myself and see. But
yeah, I'm not sure what else they would say about it. It was just.
Yeah, it made sense. I mean, because I think the less that they talked about it, the more we could kind of infer on our own.
Yeah,
because if this exists, then it is some sort of living consciousness of our ex-loved one or whatever. And you would assume that in that state, that consciousness would be conscious.
Right. But there's some elements that I can't get into with the other consciousness that are involved in this. And how does that
But
happen?
There's not any.
But there, what is there? I don't know if I agree with that.
Really, you don't think that human minds can construct
other human
creatures,
minds?
Well, look at books. We do it all the time. Writers.
Okay. So it's because we got to be. We got slow down. We got to be careful because we're going to give stuff away. We can't we want to be a little cautious of spoilers because this movie rides heavy on, I think, that twist. So let's take that twist out of it for just a hot second.
Okay.
So without that, one of the things that really did register with me is the relationship that our character had with the three different versions, because it was three different relationships. And I was really digging that. what I wasn't digging was all these things that started coming into it. And so it was impeding, I guess the other elements of the story was impeding on the elements of the story that I was enjoying the most. And that rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, I think those were other things that were communicating with him.
And it's important to the story, right? So so I will concede that, but I can't stop having that emotional reaction to it. So do you
think it's because it just didn't make sense to you, or I'm trying to figure out what I liked it so much. I can't believe I'm defending it so heavily, but I really was like, this is fantastic. It's just so beautiful. It's just so heart-wrenching. This is why I hate watching emotional movies, though, because I was like, number 2. Yeah. Number 2. I couldn't handle that.
I do want, Crystal, I want to hear more about what really registered with you. I mean, you're saying
Number 2. God bless. That little robot. She just wanted him to love her. And that just breaks my heart.
Which is very human.
Yeah, because in essence, he is creating a consciousness and putting it into a robot. He's trying to recreate his. So we could say this. He's trying to his wife that passed. So he's building these robots, and they're progressively getting better and can hold more storage and more information. And he's just, the first one is like a 5-year-old, he said, and the second one is like a teenager. And she definitely acts like a teenager, and she loves him. She, as the wife's consciousness, of course she would react that way because she would be in love with him and would be jealous and would be all of these things. And she acts out, but she yet still is sweet and precious. It's just the whole thing is quite sad, really.
Yeah,
and I felt it. The fact that I felt it so deeply is why I like the movie so much. They did an incredible job giving this robot is a block, and yet I felt like it was a person. It didn't have to be. It didn't have to be the person that it didn't have to be the android. It was. Yeah, it was.
I would agree with you. That I'd say that character, which is basically an inanimate object that is given human life, right, is in a lot of ways was given more character than the android, the AI android.
Well, I think the AI didn't have to rely so much on what was said, or maybe because it just appears more human, even though it was kind of creepy.
Was that creepy? Was it creepy?
I didn't like that white hair so much.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Oh. So I really enjoyed the android look, right?
I didn't mind it. I mean, I'm just saying, I think it's kind of weird. Like, I didn't care. Like, it didn't affect me or the movie or anything. I was fine with it, but I was like, dude, I mean, she was a brunette. That's kind of disrespectful. Just kidding.
I don't know. Jeff, close out our discussion here and tell me exactly where I'm wrong. No. Just tell me how this movie made you feel, where it registered the most for you, especially as a sci-fi fan, because you really love getting into the sci-fi films for us.
So 2 things. One is that Crystal is bringing up a lot was the relationship with number 2 and his not getting how emotionally affected number 2 was by what he was doing and what was going on. So yeah, that was some tragic consequences. The other thing is the concept of AI. What is the thing about a human brain that can't be quite recreated yet? But there's no doubt in my mind that will be created at some point. So it's interesting to me to see science fiction depictions or guesses or predictions.
Yeah,
and I thought it was kind of neat what they did with her. It was a gradual progression, and then how fast she progressed, right?
It's kind of a Ray Bradbury kind of thing going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
This film is doing a lot more than I'm giving it credit for, and I'm having a very gut emotional reaction to certain elements of it, the storytelling, and then the beats that I liked the most were kind of tossed away toward the end. But I don't go by me. Go by
No. I'm sure tons of people will be like, this is
yeah.
But like Jeff said, it's a character study. It's emotional. It's not horror. It's sci-fi for sure. It's got, but I think it's got some. It's not Star Wars. It's not going to have all this action sci-fi, but it's got a lot of heart. This movie has a lot of heart.
Yep. All right. Well, let's wrap up our review of Archive. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene. Before we do, though, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe below, hit the like button, hit the bell so you get notified, and more importantly, leave some comments. Let us know what you think, not only of the movie, but of this show or anything else. We really want to hear from you. We love hearing from you, so please do so. Crystal, take us out here and give us your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene. No, we're not leaving just yet. Sorry.
I was like, oh yeah. It was okay. So
it's ready to go.
I totally think you should watch this movie if you're a sci-fi fan at all. It's a good one. I might have cried maybe a little or got really emotional. Whatever. Don't judge me. Don't judge me for that. I'm going to give it a 4.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I am going.
I don't know. It just struck all these. It's just. I think it was well written and just made so much sense to me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm just weird. But clearly, the scene that affected me the most was walking into the water.
Really?
I could not handle that.
Really? Oh, nice. Interesting. I want to hear more about that. Offline.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. We can't talk about that too much.
Yeah, no.
Without spoiling it, but yeah, interesting. Well, up next,
I was really looking forward to hearing what Dave thought about that scene, by the way.
Yeah, Dave would have hated it. I'm sure he would have hated this movie. He's like,
after what he said about the beach house.
I forgot about that. Dave sometimes can surprise you with these films.
Yeah.
If he likes a script, he goes for it. All right, Jeff Moore, give us your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene for Archive.
Yeah, I think this is a decent imagining of dealing with AI and this idea of archiving, and as technology advances, how to deal with the death of loved ones. I thought the performances were good, although for the most part it's Theo James and the AI is pretty much the majority of the interaction. Although Toby Jones and I forget her first name, Rhona
Mitra.
Mitra.
Yeah.
My favorite scene. Crystal took it, so that's all right. That's all right. It's a very powerful scene.
That might be telling why I don't like this film as much then.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think of another one that's coming up.
Yes.
When well, I guess when he's out running and he notices, isn't the AI out there running next to him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, catches up with him. Yeah.
And she's actually faster. I think that was interesting. That was an example of how fast
of her stolen legs. Her stolen legs. Ill-gotten legs.
That's right.
I am not happy about that, let me tell you.
Poor
number two.
Your team.
Parts. We need parts.
Oh my! All right. Well, unfortunately for me,
I didn't give it a score yet. I'm giving it a 3.5.
3.5. Oh wow.
3.5.
Right.
So you know what? I bet y'all all thought this was a Jeff Moore film, but apparently it's a Crystal Cleveland film.
Yeah, it's a Crystal Cleveland film.
I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, that's weird.
I think what's telling is this: your favorite scene, both of you, is the scene I like the least in the entire film.
Okay.
I think that's that might be telling us that whole it may not have registered with me the same way. I'm having a rough week. Blame it all on me. I there are a lot of elements of this I like. I like the exploration of AI. I like the exploration of loss, and what they're going for here. The flashback narrative that they chose is one that I do not personally like. We were actually, interesting enough, we were my wife and I were trying to watch a show today, and it was using a similar narrative choice, and I couldn't watch it. I turned it off. I just said, I'm not going to watch this show. I don't like this. So that went a long way.
Interesting.
Just as a film, yeah. It's just so there can be exceptions to the rule. Another one is I don't like a whole lot of where the person just talks and you don't. What a voiceover. I don't like a lot of voiceovers in my films, but there are times when that works, right? But I think a lot of people use it as a crutch. And now I'm not saying they're using it as a crutch here, but it just didn't register. I understand it was their choice and what they wanted to do, and I can't say that it was a bad choice for everybody. It's just a bad choice for me as an audience member. It there was just a lot of some of the story elements that seemed to be kind of undermined and pulled out for me, and it may be just my approach to this, because obviously I'm not having the same reaction to one key scene that struck so so hard with you guys, and I think that has a lot, and it's not like I didn't want to watch this film. I was looking forward to it. I love Theo James. I think I thought he was really great in this, and I had a high impression of him. And then I look back and I said, well, why? Because he's in these films, and I guess I liked him in those films. I don't know why, but I like the design of the character, the AI character, both in AI form and later when she takes more of a human form. It all worked for me. I love the little robots. Again, like I said, it as far as her design, by the way, not the movie, but I love the robots and the way they reminded me of Silent Running, because that's it. So this film has a lot more in comparison to sci-fi wise and Silent Running than it does like Star Wars. So so sci-fi films can be anything from very heady to straight up fantasy action kind of thing, and this one's far more on that side of the heady thing and the exploration of meaning and character and development and what's going on with science. And I usually dig that. Bless you. I usually dig that, but I did not. Bless you again. But I did not notice.
Bless you.
I did not care for it here. So I'm giving it a 2.5 because it is a well done film. Yeah, I know you gave it a 4. And my favorite scene is I think there's a couple of ones I want to choose, but I'm going to choose when the robot is walking down the hallway and something happens. There's a malfunction, and
she runs out of power.
Basically, it's a little bit. It means a little bit more than that, but yes, that's what's happening. And then the number 1 comes along and finds it and races off, and number 3. I guess they actually do call it like J3, right? When he learns about what's happening, he darts off immediately, right? And even the AI, J3, has a reaction to it. And I just thought that was really nice. I liked what they were going for there with that synchronicity between all the characters, and just didn't get enough of that for me. But don't listen to me, because obviously I'm wrong. And,
no.
You should listen.
I think a lot of gruesome fans will probably agree with you.
There'll be some.
But I will say Doc's having a bad week.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I have having a baby. Things will get better.
You need some pancakes. That makes me happy.
Ooh, I'd have pancakes for lunch.
Why does it always come back to food?
Because food makes people happy.
Look at me.
Food makes me happy. All right, that is our review of Archive. It is out digitally and online, July 10th. This is, I believe, this is from our friends at. Help me out. What am I thinking?
No idea.
Me neither.
How embarrassing.
I try not to look at who it's from or who it's by, so I'm not.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's escaping me. It's getting late. No, it's Vertical Entertainment. Thank you. My brain just clicked in. So again,
Vertical Entertainment. Yep.
Thank you. So, we'd love to hear from you. Give your thoughts down below. You can say how wrong I am. I don't care. You can park a bus on my head. Just do it.
An opinion can't be wrong.
Well, I'm not even going to go there. You know what? Yeah. All right, Jeff, Crystal, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Despite my lack of interest in this particular film, it still was a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us again,
Yeah,
as usual.
I enjoyed talking
It was
about
awesome.
it. Yeah.
I really liked this one, so thanks for letting me watch
Great seeing you.
I have a feeling you're going to be talking about this at the end of the year.
I might.
I mean, you gave it a 4. You don't do
Yeah.
This is a Crystal Cleveland 4.
But this is. I don't think it'll make my top 10 because it's just not horror. It's not horror for me. I think it's worth a 4, but it's too sci-fi for me to put on my top 10. I think.
It smells like an honorable mention. Then, all right.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Okay, all right.
I loved it. I really liked it. Though.
Really did. Yes. All right.
With that, watching it again.
With that, let's stop. With that, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.